we'll be looking at environmental management paper 1 here. This is our first set of the series of past papers that we're going to be looking at in EM. So this paper 1 is the theory paper, and it also carries 80 mark. So here we'll be looking at the MayJune 2019 paper, and it's for 1 hour 45 minutes. So I'm going to have a quick walkthrough. If I could finish it, good and fine. If I can't finish it, then we're also going to look at a part 2 section of this, but hopefully I'll try and be fast as possible. So section A, question number 1 is, the table shows world insecticide use in arbitrary unit in 2009 and 2014. So here we have a table, and we have the world regions, the different continents around the world, and also we have the insecticide use in 2014 and 2019. These are the set of values. Now the first question is, state the world region with the lowest. So this is the key term we're looking at, lowest insecticide use. So if you look at this value here, the lowest insecticide use in 2014. So 2014, look at the value that is the lowest, and this is it. So which world region is there? So you just come here, is Africa and the Middle East. So Africa and the Middle East have the lowest. Okay, we're done with that first question, which is 1 mark. Now, say calculate the increase in insecticide use in Asia and Oceania. So that means we are looking at this column, Asia and Oceania, from 2019 and 2014. So 2014, Asia is 12820, while in 2009 is 11000. So if you look at the difference, you have 1820 arbitrary units. So the answer will be 1820 arbitrary units. So that's just it. Sorry. Okay, they said suggest 2 reasons why some world regions. Suggest 2 reasons why you think some world regions use more insecticide than other world regions. So I think one of the things you should look at here is the wealth of different regions are different. The wealth of different regions are different. That is why you find out that the insecticide use will also be different. Another reason is there can be let's say lack of insecticide availability. Now some country can use possibly they have other method of insecticide control, such as they can also, this is 1.1 point, let me just add a third one. So they can also have biological method, so they don't use insecticide. Biological method of pest control. Another thing is they can also have things like you have things like lack of legislation, so anybody can use at any time. They don't have any form of law that control the use of insecticide. Okay, so any of these 2 will give you a correct answer. So you can also bring things like having insecticide resistant crop, like using genetically modified crops. So state 2 reasons, 2 ways. We are looking at 2 ways other than insecticide use to reduce the impact of pest control. 2 ways. This is, so we can also have other method of pest control, like I stated here. They have other methods, so they can use biological method, so you don't have to use insecticide. Possibly the crops are grown in a glass house, or sorry, glass house, is some textbook is called the greenhouse. You can also have things like when you have manual method, so you can actually remove it using your hands. You can also have genetically modified crops, GM crops, things like when you use a different method of agriculture like the hydroponics. Any of these points we go. Next, let's see. The photograph shows a farm in southern Africa. A farm in southern Africa. So, if this is a farm, okay, so obviously, what you can see here is, once you're given a photo first, the first thing you analyze the photo. So here we have a highland, and here we have trees. Here we have dry land, and you can also see things like dead leaves. So what has happened in this area is more like deforestation has taken place, and also you have a highland, and there are vegetations on the highland also. So you look at vegetations are here. So what we've just done is just to label this photograph. So if we look at the first set of questions, let's say they say describe the vegetation shown in the photograph. So all you need to write here is what you can see. So first thing is you find out that there is dry land. Just write what you see. There is vegetation on the hill. Now there are trees. There are also bushes. All these are found here. That's all. You get your 2 marks. Now the farm in the photograph has had 4 years of drought. Explain why cattle can no longer be kept on the farm. Now, if there is drought, what is the impact of drought? Drought will lead to, first, there will be no vegetation because plants need water to survive. And if there is no vegetation, obviously there will be no food. So there will be lack of food for the cattle. So cattle will no longer be able to live there. So the answer here is drought will cause vegetation to die. Causes vegetation to die. The next point will be, since vegetation died, there will be lack of food or lack of food for the cattle. And remember, since it's drought, there is no water also. So you can bring another point, lack of water. Lack of water, so cattle will be dehydrated. Cattle will be dehydrated. Let's see. Now, we have question number 3 here, which is also a graph. Now, if you look at all the questions, they've been giving us source that will make reference to while we are answering the questions. Now, they said the graph show carbon dioxide emission for a more economically developed country, that's MEDC. So we are looking at carbon dioxide emission from 1970 to 2015. So we have 1970 to 2015, and we have the data of annual carbon dioxide emission within this individual year. So they say calculate the change in carbon dioxide emission from 1970 to 2015. So 2015, what's the value here? This is around 400. And for 19, sorry, for 19, 70. What's the value here? So in between is 50. So we have this is, so if in between is 50, this will be 10, 20, 30. So this should be around 35, thereabout. So it will give you 650 plus 35, give you 685. So if you minus this value, let's say 685 minus 400, this will now be giving you things around is even up to 85. This should be around 81, 82. So this will give you 285. So the answer within that range. So if, let me see again, this should be around 81, thereabout. It's not up to 85, it's not up to 35. So this is 10, 20, 30. So within that range, so it should be around 81, 82. So your answer there will be, based on our calculation, we have 280. So we'll be looking around 285, but you should take note to be sure about that value there. Now, which 10-year period showed the greatest decrease in carbon dioxide emission? So 10-year period. So we're looking at 10 years period. So you should be able to look at the difference, not just looking at a part of the graph that have a quick drop. So if you look at this, that have the greatest reduction, 10 years. So basically, there is a reduction, there's a drop here. Here is almost constant. Here it increases and then decreases. So obviously my answer will not be here. From here to here there is a drop, but is that the greatest? Here is constant, then further drop. But if you look at from 2005 to 2015, that is approximately 10 years period, and it's from a value of around 555, it's around 555 to 400. While if you look at this, is this up to a 10-year period? 1970 to 1985 is more than 10 years. So 1970 to 1985 is more than 10 years. So the answer will be 2005 to 2015. So simple, you just come down to where you need to write it. So it just be 2005 to 2015. Now, they said explain why the government of MEDC need to decrease carbon dioxide emission. Now, once you get a question like this, analyze what is the impact of carbon dioxide emission. One, it's a greenhouse gas, GHG, it's a greenhouse gas. Two, you use multiplier effect. Now, what is the impact of having a greenhouse gas? It leads to global warming. And since it's a 2-mark question, that will give you an answer. But however, global warming multiplier effect leads to what? Climate change. And climate change can lead to what? Further, it can lead to melting of what? Glaciers. And melting of glaciers can lead to what? Sea level rise. So the rest stuff is just English, just coming together with looking at what you need to do. But why government of MEDC need to decrease? And another reason is there can be pressure from international communities for them to reduce their carbon dioxide emission. And also international communities can come up with fines. But this is the impact of carbon dioxide. So if you can't remember international community and fines, if you remember the impact of carbon dioxide, you still get your 2 marks. So what I will write here is that carbon dioxide, CO2, is a greenhouse gas. It's a greenhouse gas. Two, so CO2 contribute to global warming. Global warming causes climate change. Causes climate change. Now you can also say there can be things like fines to the government. Another point can be international climate change agreement. So there is this international climate change agreement. So they also participate in it. International climate change agreement. Next, question number 4. We still have a table to analyze. Now, they said the table shows the major volcanic eruption in 2015 and 2016. 2015 and 2016. So we have month of the year, country, death, and injuries between 2015 and 2016. Now, there's a state country that had the most volcanic eruption in 2015. So you come down, you look at 2015, and which country have the most volcanic eruption. So go back to your table. So here we have death. So between in 2015 now, which country? Here we have yes, my pen, sorry. Here we have death, we have injuries. Now, if you look at this table, they did not specify any headings with number of volcanic eruption. However, they said country and month of the year, so everything that is taking place here is the volcanic eruption data. Now, so in 2015, you tick off 2015. So these are 2015. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which country here do we have that appear most in 2015? I have Indonesia in February 2015, Indonesia in May 2015. I also have Indonesia in October 2015. So Indonesia appeared 3 times more than the other country. So the answer to that question is state the name of the country. It will be Indonesia. Indonesia. Now, the next question here, it's complete the sentence using information from the table. The longest period without a volcanic eruption was from when to when. So coming back to this table, let's look for the longest period without volcanic eruption. So starting from February to April is how many months interval? So February, March, April. So February, March, April, that's 3 months. From April to May is how many months interval? So let's say April, May is just 2. May to July, May, June, July, all in 2015 is still 2. May, June, July, okay, 3. October, July to October, so July, August, September, October. So I have 4 months. Now I have October 2015 to May 2016. So it crossover. There is a year crossover here. So I have October, November, December. Then you now have January, February, March, April, May. That's 8 months interval. So between these two, we have the 8 months interval. Then May to May, this is still 1. May to June, you have May, June, 1. July, June to September, June, July, August, September, 4. Then September, October, we have September, October, 2. So what we'll be looking at here is, okay, this is true. The month with the longest period is October 2015 to May 2019. That's all. So we have from October 2015 to May 2016. Next is suggest 3 reasons why these major volcanic eruption only cause small number of deaths and injuries. The reason is this is how to manage volcanic eruption, ways you use to protect yourself. Now, but if it causes small number of death and injury, the first thing you need to look at is maybe they have low population density. low population density. You can have things like they have a maybe it's in a constructive plate boundary, so not a destructive eruption, so a constructive plate. And in constructive plate, what happened? Lava flows slowly. Now you can have things like there is land use zoning, so people don't actually live where they have active volcano. You can have something like one characteristic of destructive. I think this is 3 marks, so I've given you 3 points. But however, let's see, you can have like advanced warning. Advanced warning. You can have and things like also gentle eruption. Gentle eruption. And if the eruption is gentle, that means there is no pyroclastic flow. Okay, let's move to section B. Section B. Okay, now section B is okay. I love this question. I really love this question. I normally have students that are usually confused when plotting graph pie chart that has to do with 100%, because I think most of their mindset is already set up for 360. But I'll just show you how to do this. It's quite really simple. I normally tell them it's free mark. Now the table shows population structure for 2 countries in 2015. Population structure for 2 countries in 2015. So we have country, we have population structure, percentage in each group between 0 to 14 years for 2 countries, Japan and Niger. Now the question is, complete the pie chart to show the population structure of Japan. Now if you add this whole value together, it will give you 100. That is the first thing you need to know. That means, what that means is, they make it easy. Each here, if you are moving towards this direction, this is 10, this is 20, this will be 30, this is 40, this is 50, this is 60, this is 70, this is 80, this is 90, and obviously coming that next will be 100. So if I want to look at, they gave you a key here to use. If I want to look at the first one, they say it's 13. So obviously I can have my 13. Sorry, my hand is not. Let me try and see if I could make it straight. So I can have my 13 from this point up to 0 straight, and this, if this is 13, this is 10, obviously 13 will be somewhere here, and this is, I just come pam 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 pam, done with that. The next one is 54. If it's 54, you count 10. This is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. However, I have 7 left here. So you just look at, if you have 7, this will be 17. And this will be 27. This will be 37. This will be 47. And here will be 57. So if you are looking at 54, and if this is 57, so you know you need to leave 3 out of it, so you add this. So that, they said it's a straight line, so you just come here and put your straight line. Mind you, this is just free 3 marks. Then you don't need it to be rocket science anymore. After you do that, you know this last one is for 33, and if you want to look at that, this is 10, 20, 30, and the 3 left, 33. So they say you use points, so you just come pam 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 pam. I'm done. 3 marks. Now this is suggest 2 problems that Japan may have as a result of this population structure. So if you look at their population structure, what you will notice is Japan has the highest proportion of people. They have low number of youthful population. People above 65 are within the retirement age, and the rest. So there is high amount of old people in Japan. So the basic thing you now look at the impact of having high amount of age people within the country. So there'll be a need for care homes. So you need for care homes. For the elderly. You also look at things like it will have high dependency ratio because the old people will depend on the younger generation. High dependency. You also look at things like it will be difficult for you to defend such a country, and there will be low workforce. Low workforce. It will be difficult to defend because most of the people are old already. Difficult to defend. And because most people are old, it will cause a strain on the healthcare. So any two of that, I normally advise students to give 3 points. It makes it better. Next is explain why Niger population structure means population may increase rapidly. And why will the population increase rapidly? Because they have large number of people within the childbearing age. So here they are asking you reason for increase in population. So there will be high birth rate. High birth rate, and why? Because there is large number of people living within the childbearing age. And next is why will we make such conclusion also? Is because many under the age under 15 will soon be of childbearing age. So they have many under 15 which will soon be at childbearing age. And also, one major thing is there is early marriage uh, in Niger Republic. So also there is a lot of early marriage. But this might not give you a mark. The reason is because you want to explain using the population structure. So next is suggest two problems that Niger may have as a result of rapid increase in population. So that means what is the impact of high population growth? There will be things like unemployment or job shortage. It can lead to increased crime rate. There will be stress on available resources. There can also be if there's stress on available resources, it will be difficult to provide for the population. Difficult to provide for the large population. Can also lead to development of slums. Slums, it can lead to poverty. So these are few, and if there is development of slums, high population, this can also lead to need for more housing. So if you need more housing, you have to clear the forest, so it can lead to deforestation. Okay, next, describe two strategies that the government of Niger can use to control increase in population. You make contraceptives available. or you have things like child planning. You can even bring things like population policy here. So they can come up with a population policy. They can also education of women. We can also look at things like um, okay, increase contraceptives availability and education on child planning. Now they say, can a less economically developed country, LEDC, such as Niger, feed its increasing population sustainably? Give reasons for your answer. Now, this is more like a very long structured question. So we are looking at sustainably, and feed its increasing population sustainably. It can either go in two ways. If you say yes or no, but in this case, what I advise students is your opinion should not be biased. You should tell me why. You should give me reasons why it should be why it can be sustainable, reasons why, and some of those reasons can be, they can use no sustainability. In this case, you should look at it from using the environment to provide food and yet not harming the environment so that the future generation will be able to use it. So one way we can make it sustainable, reasons why it can be sustainable should be things like, instead of using insecticide that will damage the environment, we can also use biological control. Instead of using mechanization, which will produce a high amount of food though. But however, we can also use Niger has a high working population, so they normally have large working population. It can make it sustainable instead of using large working population. Now you can find out that Niger also have something like instead of using fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers, you can use organic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers will not harm the environment. You can also use things like let's say if you're using irrigation, you can use rainwater harvesting, not flooding method of irrigation. Rainwater harvesting method as a means of providing water. Sorry, rainwater harvesting. You can also look at things like use a trickle drip method of irrigation. Use trickle drip method of irrigation. Now you can, that's for reasons why it should be sustainable. Now reasons why it cannot be sustainable. So it will not be sustainable because reasons like they make use of they'll have to deforestation because they'll clear more land. So deforestation can lead to loss of biodiversity, so making the environment not sustainable. Another thing, there will be increased use of water from rivers for irrigation. For irrigation. You can also look at they'll be using, instead of using organic fertilizers, they use artificial, which can cause eutrophication. Which can cause eutrophication. They can also they need more money, and Niger is not, it's a less economically developed country, so they need more money. That is why it will not be sustainable. They don't have the money. They need more need to import, and they don't have money to import in the first place. And they also need skilled worker. They need mechanization method. So all this will not make it sustainable because it will harm them, but all this can make it sustainable. So you can just argue from both sides, a formal equation. So if you can remember to give 2, 2 or 3, 3 from each point, I think you should get your full answer. Is this thing getting too long? Let me see, how many minutes now? Okay, 35. We have 1 hour 45 minutes, so I think we're moving pretty fast. Okay, the table shows the percentage of population, still under population, of 10 countries in Africa with access to safe drinking water in 1990 and 2015. So we have 1990, 2015, access to safe drinking water countries in Africa. So first, let's say complete the table by calculating the average percentage of the population with access to safe drinking water in 2015. So all you need to do is get your calculator and you add all these values together, this plus this plus this plus this, to give you a total. And it will be the total divided by the number of countries. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So once you add everything together and you divide, let me see if I could use my system calculator to do that. Sorry. Come up. Okay, it's coming up. Good. So we have 10 countries, and we need to add all of them together. Come on, man. Okay, good. So we have 49 plus 96 plus 57 plus 89 plus 90 plus 58 plus 76 plus 93 plus 54, 93, 56, sorry, plus 77. This is now equal to 7. So everything in total here is equal to 741. So we have a total of 741. So divide by 10. This will now give you 74.1. That's all. State the country that had a decrease in access to safe drinking water from 1990 to 2015. A country with a decrease in safe drinking water, from 1990 to 2015. So here, look at this increase. There's an increase, increase, decrease. So the answer for that question is Zimbabwe. So we'll come down, we'll write our answer is Zimbabwe. Then state the lowest access to safe drinking water in 2015. The country with the lowest access to safe drinking water in 2015. We'll come back, let's see. Lowest access to safe drinking water. So do I have anything lower than 40? No, so 49. That's 2015 is Angola. So Angola. Come down, write it. So what I have is Angola. Now, the largest increase in access to safe drinking water, the largest increase from 1990 to 2015, the largest increase. So now you have to, it might take a little bit of your time because you have to minus and see which one have the largest increase. But here, the increase in the first one is, the increase here is 45, 42, that's approximately 7. And this is approximately 4, 13, 57. So 57 minus 13, this will give you 4, I think so. So I have 44 here. 56, it is 89 minus 56, this will give you 3, so I have 3 here. 90, 43, 90 minus 43, this will give me 5. Okay, sorry, this, so I have 7, 8, I have 47, this gives me 47. I think this should be the highest. Malawi should have the highest, because if you look at this, look at the value, none will even give you up to 47. So followed by Ethiopia. So the answer there is Malawi. But most times I advise students to just, you make sure you do all the whole process so you don't have to guess and miss a free mark. Okay, moving forward. They say, explain why access to safe drinking water is important to people. What's the importance of drinking safe drinking water? Now, one of the things is dirty water can cause diseases. And examples, so dirty water can cause diseases. Causes diseases such as cholera, typhoid, etc. Now, you can, another thing is why you need safe drinking water. You need water for, it forms, people die, so it can cause death if the water is not safe from these diseases. Lack of water can cause dehydration. Clean water is is used in cooking, so it's used in cooking also for the family, so it's a source of food. And you know, it's water is the basics for human survival. That's all. So let's see, next question. So the graph shows the global water consumption by continent from 1970 to 2015 and predicted to 2020. So let's see, 1970 to 2015, and these are the predicted ones and individual countries. So let's look at the question first. State the water consumption in Europe in 2010. So you come, which is 2010. This is 2010. Sorry. This is Europe, and this is 2010. So you trace it to this point, and you take the line back to here. So each is 100. So this will be 600. Because this is 500. This is 1000. So each is 100. So 600. Now compare water consumption in Asia with that of North America. So they say we should compare North America with that of Asia. North America with that of Asia. So, but did they give us any specific year? So let me see. They said 1970 to 2020. So we're looking at everything in terms of that. So first, you should notice that there is both North America and Asia, both increase. So if you look at the both of them increase, so both increase. Now you find out that Asia is use more water than North America. So both increase, but Asia have higher consumption than North America. Asia higher than North America. You can also look for, normally I advise students to always use data while answering this question. So you can say things like data should be comparable. So I can say Asia in 1970 uses how many amount? I think around, this should be around, Asia uses 1,500 billion meter, while Europe uses approximately, this should be 100, around 220, thereabout 250 in 1970. So you just do that, you've answered that question. So it's comparison, it's free mark, anybody can do that. So I've written the answer there just because it's close to the graph. However, calculate the percentage of the world's water consumed in Asia in 1990. Circle the correct answer. So we're looking at the percentage of world water consumed in Asia in 1990. So calculate the percentage of world's water consumed in Asia in 1990. So I have to go back to that graph. Percentage of world water consumed in Asia in 1990. So this is 1990. The amount consumed in Asia is 2,000. So how do we get our percentage? Let me see. The graph shows percentage water predicted in 2015. So this is the world water. So you look at the world consumption in 1990. So if this is Asia, yes, 1990, sorry. 1990, you trace it back up 1990 to this point, and that is 3,500. So it will be Asia divided by world total, 3,500 times 100 over 1. That will give you, so 2,000 divided by 3,500 times 100 over 1. So 2,000 divided by 3,500 times 100 over 1. This will go this first. So you have, if you do that correctly, you should be having 57%. Now the population of Africa in 2015 was 1.25 billion. Use the figure and the graph to calculate the average water consumption per person per year in 2015. So if this is the population now is 1.25 billion, then what is the water in 2015? Come back to your graph. So look at percentage water consumption in 2015. So 2015, you have 2020. So 2015, this is Africa, and the value there is around 300. So Africa is 300 billion meter cube per year. So looking at 300 billion meter cube per year. 300. So the total number of people, water consumption is 300 billion people per year. So if you look at meter cube person per year, so the answer will now be 3. I think it should be 300 billion divided by 1.25, which is the population. We now give you something like 240. So you just put 240. When you do that calculation, you get that. Explain why the global water consumption keep increasing. What are the factors that causes an increase in consumption, in water consumption? It's simple. Now there will be increase because of increase in population. Increase in population. You can have increase standard of living or increase in wealth. Increase in standard of living. You can also look at because increase in industries. You can also look at increase in industries, increase in irrigation and agricultural use. Now, describe how human activities in towns and cities can pollute water. So, causes of water pollution. So first, you can look at one of the major reasons is untreated sewage. Can move directly into water sources. You can also have things like waste from factories and industries. Waste from factories and industries. We can look at lack of waste management in a country. We can also look at things like wastewater. We enter into a river course. So waste dispose in water courses. Things like human domestic waste disposal. You can have things like oil spillage. I think that should be enough. Proper waste disposal in water. That's 4 marks, so you get your full mark there. I normally love giving extra. Now, water pollution. Water pollution. This is a level mark question, which is usually 6 marks. So let's look at this quickly. Don't worry, we'll soon be done. Water pollution is a major serious problem than the enhanced greenhouse effect. So they're looking at water pollution is a major serious problem than the enhanced greenhouse effect. So that means water pollution has a problem, greenhouse effect has a problem. How far do you agree with this statement? Give reasons for your answer. Now, when you answer a 6-mark question in environmental management in this structure, which must come out? You must first give point, argue from both sides. From both sides. Then give conclusion. Then you conclude. Once you do that, you get your 6 mark. Simple. So let's look at points from both sides. Why do we think both has a problem? First, water pollution causes serious problem. How? First, let's see things like impact. Let's look at impact of water pollution. It can cause diseases, which can cause death. So it causes diseases, it causes death, causes diseases, it causes death. You can find out that you can look at that's a major impact. What else can water pollution cause? Let me think. Sorry, I have to reason deeply, just looking at both sides. Disease, death. Water pollution can lead to loss of biodiversity. Loss of biodiversity between organisms in that lives with that are dependent on water, habitat, biodiversity, organisms that live in water. Greenhouse gas can lead to global warming. Global warming. Greenhouse effect can lead to climate change. This can also lead to melting of glaciers. You get it? Water pollution can lead to eutrophication also. That's where you pollute water using things like fertilizers. So I've looked at disease, eutrophication, death, loss of biodiversity. Here we've looked at greenhouse effect, global warming. We've looked at climate change, which will lead to melting of glaciers, and this can lead to sea level rise. And lastly, it can lead to flooding around the coastal areas. Now, I've looked at the impact of these problems from the two sides, which you need to write. Then for a well-balanced answer, you need to, now, so here, let's say I've decided to explain the impact. Then now I need to profile certain solutions also. So you can, now solutions, you can look at things like international agreement. You look at educate the people on the impact of water pollution and greenhouse effect. Countries can come up with legislation to help control this water pollution and greenhouse effect. So you see, once you do this, you get your 6 mark. So from there, you can now look at a conclusion from both angles. You can, from here now, that is when you can now decide based on your argument which pose serious problem or not. Then you can just state one or two reasons why you decide to say that, because global warming and the rest can also lead to change in rainfall pattern. So that's how you answer the 6 mark question. So it's quite easy, but students normally get half of that mark, but that's just the pattern. So I think this should be the last question. Okay, I think I have number 8. God, this is 16. This is long. This is the longest video I've ever done on YouTube, but let me see how many minutes we've spent. We've spent 58, and it's a 1 hour 45 minutes. Though I'm trying to still explain why answering the question. So I think that's why I'm wasting a whole lot of time. Well, it's not a waste, but you have to be disciplined enough to answer. Now, describe the formation of oil. Now, first, oil is formed from the dead plants and animals that fall to the bottom of the sea. So first, formed from dead animal that fall to the bottom of the sea. Next, that will follow by these dead plant and animal are covered in layers of sediment. They are covered in layers of sediment or mud, and this covering will now lead to increase in heat and pressure. The increase in heat and pressure. And once it leads to increase in heat and pressure, it will change the dead plant and animal into oil. We change the dead plant and animal into oil. And this will take, it takes millions of years. Full stop. Describe the advantage and disadvantage of oil as an energy resource. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of oil as an energy? It's a 4-mark question, so you can give 3, 2, 3, 3. Okay, the technology for extraction is well known. It's an advantage. You can have things like it's readily available. Readily available. You can also small amount produce high amount of energy. Small produce high amount of energy. That's its advantage. Let me see. Disadvantage now, it releases CO2, carbon dioxide, to the atmosphere, and it causes what? Which causes GB, global warming, because it's a greenhouse gas, and also burning of it also releases sulfur, SO2, and sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxide, which causes acid rain, and damage the environment. Another disadvantage is non-renewable. Okay. C part of this question number 14, is we're told that this is a country that's showing the distribution of the average oil consumption per person in 2015. So low oil consumption per person. We have medium level and high level. So distribution, this simple map. State the continent where oil use per person is low in all. That's Africa. It's low all through. State the continent with high oil use per person. High oil use per person here is, let's say, North America. You can say it using your key. So these are 3-mark questions that you don't need to stress yourself with. Just answer them. Then the next is explain why oil use per person is much higher in some countries than others. This is quite similar to that question we answered relating to water consumption in the country per person. So here is first thing, once you're comparing two countries, you should always remember wealth. Wealth between countries differs. That's one point. Another point I can look at is um, wealth differs. Availability of oil also differs. What kind of availability did I just spell? Availability of oil differs. The technology for extraction. Technology for extraction and level of development differs. Another point is um, energy consumption and need for countries differs. Mhm. Another reason can be wealth, because some countries don't need oil because they have alternative sources. Alternative source of energy. Now the map shows the location of oil spill in 7-year period in the sea around part of northwest Europe. Okay, that's the map. They say describe the distribution of oil spill shown on the map. So if you're looking at distribution of oil spill shown on the map, so you find out that first, so most oil spill, you use relative location now. Most oil spill, let me use North Sea for example. This is my news, NEWS, never ever smoke weed. So there is more oil spill is in the south of the North Sea. So we have more oil spill in south of the North Sea. Now, you find out that they are in straight line from Belgium to Denmark. So in a line from Belgium to Denmark. You can put other countries in between like Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark. You get your mark. So the greatest concentration is around of this Belgium, around Belgium borders. So greatest concentration is around Belgium. So this is the North Sea. North of the North Sea is scattered. So scattered in north of the North Sea. Another thing you can write is unevenly distributed. It's not equal across the map. Unevenly distributed. This will give you a full mark for that question. You don't need to give you 3 marks. So let's see. Question number the last question, page 16. Discuss the strategies for minimizing the impact of oil spill. Here you use things like skimmers. Use skimmers. Use detergent. You can use blooms or booms, sorry, which are oil traps. You can use you can also use I think manual or mechanical method of collecting the oil. You can also burn the oil. Burn the oil on the sea surface. So thank you. And please click the like button and also subscribe. Thank you.